Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining another Pilates session with me, Louise, at Ready to Ride. Today we are going to be doing a multitasking session. If you've been following me for a while, you will know just how much I like to do these multitasking coordination sessions. It's so important when we're in the saddle to be able to multitask or be really coordinated. We've got so many different things going on, we just need to practice that as much as we can off the horse. So let's get started. And before you start, think of having that nice light head. Make sure you're breathing deeply down to the base of your lungs, particularly if you've been busy and rushing around. You don't want to be breathing up and down through your shoulders. Relax through your arms. Check that your ropes are gently pulling your ribs down towards your pelvis. Check your headlights out to the front. Make sure you can move your headlights, so tilting them up and down independently so the rest of you can stay still. Bring them to the front, and then without taking your breath in, take your pelvic floor lift up onto floor 3. Check your knees are soft, and make sure you've got equal weight through your feet. We get very focused on our seat, which is absolutely right, but our feet go into the stirrups put pressure through the saddle into the horse. We need to be aware that we've got equal weight through both of our feet as well. Okay, we're going to start with your walking nice and simple, so you're just going to be doing diagonal pairs, arms and legs. Keeping your elbows as straight as possible, keeping your breathing nice and regular. Check that your ribs are gently sinking down towards your pelvis. Pelvic floor is staying onto floor 3. Then let's change this up. We're going to do this in lunge position, so you need to have one foot in front of the other, and then you're going to do the same opposite arms and legs movement. This time you're moving slightly forwards and backwards, and what you should find is that your headlights are moving forwards and backwards too as you shift from back foot to front foot and back again, and you want them to feel as if they're going on a set of tram lines, and watching that you're not getting a lot of this movement. So you're, oops, as I lose balance completely, you want your headlights to be going forwards and backwards on a straight line. You can see what that excessive movement does. It throws you off balance. Think of your rising trot. If your pelvis is wobbling around, you're going to lose balance, and the poor horse is going to feel that too. Okay, let's swap round, do the same thing the other way, so opposite foot in front, and off you go again. Same things apply. Headlights forwards and backwards. Elbows once again as straight as you can. Keep the breathing nice and regular. Pelvic floor onto floor 3. Okay, good job. Let's bring your arms down before you lose all circulation. We're going to do a roll down now, so if you go towards the end of your mat, and then feet together, knees nice and soft, hands on the front of your thighs, chin down onto your chest, and you're going to slide your hands down the front of your thighs, curling up as tight as you can, all the way down to the base of your spine. The breath in at the bottom, and then breathe out. Slide your hands back up, tuck down with your pelvis, and uncurl to the very top of your neck. And then again, chin into your chest. This time focus on moving every single vertebrae through your neck, between your shoulders, and right down to the very base of your spine. Another breath in, and then as you breathe out, tuck down with your pelvis, and you're stacking every single vertebrae one at a time, right up through until you get to the top of your neck. And then one last go, chin into your chest. And again, you're sliding down, curling up as tightly as you can until you get to the base of your spine. Another breath in, breathe out, bend your knees down onto your mat, and we're going to be starting off on your side. We're going to be doing an exercise called the side bend, and you need to be propped up onto your forearm with your legs in what we call the capital L position. So you should have a straight line from shoulders, hips to knees, knees bent at 90 degrees. If I looked at you from on top, you should look like a capital L. Nice and simple. Okay, so pelvic floor onto floor 3, and you're going to lift your arm as you lift your pelvis. So this is where we're thinking of that synchronization. Pelvis and arm want to be moving in synchrony. What's the word? In synchrony, if that's such a word. Lifting pelvis and arm together, keeping the breathing, keeping the pelvic floor onto floor 3. If you want to make it a wee bit harder, you can add in the challenge of keeping your top leg elevated at the same time. You don't have to do that at all, it's only if you want to make it a wee bit harder. If you want to make it a wee bit harder still, you can then straighten your top leg Hope my foot isn't disappearing from view. Straighten your top leg at the same time as you do your lift and arm straighten. So now you've got 3 different things all going on at once. Hopefully still with your pelvic floor. Hopefully still with your regular breathing. We're going to do one more of this. Good job. Okay, we're going to turn onto your back and we're going to start off with your scissors exercise. So this should be fairly straightforward. You can choose which position you want to start in, so you can stay with your feet on the floor if you would like, or if you want to go up into tabletop, that's absolutely fine. If you are starting with your feet on the floor, have your hands onto your headlights, neutral tummy, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and you are going to bring one leg up to tabletop and back down, and then bring the other leg up to tabletop and back down. Always moving from the hips, watching that your knees stay at 90 degrees. If you're going from tabletop, you're doing the reverse. So once again, you're moving from the hip, keeping the knees at about 90 degrees. Whichever one you are doing, we're now going to add in your arms. So if you are in tabletop, you're going to take one arm over your head as one foot goes to the floor and back up again. And the same thing the opposite way. Keep your headlights nice and level. Keep your ribs gently sinking down towards your pelvis. If you're doing this on the floor, with your feet on the floor, you'll be doing it in a slightly different way. So your arm and leg will actually be moving in the same direction, but you still want to concentrate on getting that synchronization. Also, the other thing to watch, whichever version you are doing, is make sure that your hands always come back so that they are level with each other and over your shoulders. Because don't forget, your hands, that's your contact, it's where you're holding the reins. You want to make sure that your hands are always exactly where you want them to be, and also make sure they're staying nice and soft. Last one of this exercise. Okay, bring your arms back down. We're going to move on now to doing the scissors combined with the hip twist. So if you were doing this on the floor, this will, again, hands onto your headlights is a good place for a bit of feedback. You're going to be taking one leg up into scissors, tabletop, as the other leg goes out into hip twist, then bring them back down together, and then the same thing the opposite way. You will need to take a second just to get your brain on board. Okay, if you're doing this from tabletop, you're going to be doing the same principle. So one leg is coming down while one leg is going out. Watching that if you're doing it from this position, your hip, just remember it's the whole leg that goes, whereas when you're on the floor, it's just your knee. From this position, it's the whole leg. As with the previous one, with the scissors leg, make sure you are moving from the hip, not to the knee. Check that your ropes are gently keeping your ribs down towards your pelvis. We'll do one more. Okay, then one at a time, feet back down onto the floor. Okay, good job. We've got one more tough one to do lying down, and we're going to do your double leg stretch, which is actually a little bit similar to your scissors, but slightly different because the challenge is just a little bit different. Again, you can do this with your legs on the, or feet on the floor, or from tabletop position. So, same start up, neutral tummy position, pelvic floor onto floor 3, hands onto your headlights. If you're going on the floor, you're sliding each leg out in turn, keeping it straight at that end point and keeping the other leg still. If you are going from tabletop, you're going to be straightening each leg in turn. Try not to just point your legs up. My hamstrings are too tight to be able to do that anyway, but try not to just point your legs up to the ceiling. You actually want to get that straightening. That is what gives you the real challenge and really works those muscles that are lying where those ropes or springs are that I keep referring to. Whichever position you are in, we're going to add in your arms. So we're going to do a little circle to combine with your leg movement. The key here is to keep your circles small. If your circles end up touching the floor, you'll find it almost impossible to synchronise your arms and legs. So keep your circles small, concentrate on regular breathing. Think about those ropes or springs between your ribs and pelvis. Keep the pelvic floor going. We'll do one more with each leg. Good job. Okay, arms down, legs down one at a time. And we're going to turn onto your other side and have a go at doing the side bend on the other side. So once again, you need to be propped up on your forearm, legs in the capital L position. My hands are going to disappear this time, I think. Top arm onto your top side, pelvic floor onto floor 3. And you're going to lift the pelvis and take the arm up and both back down together. So it's pelvic floor, lift, and slowly back down. Pelvic floor, lift, slowly back down. Now, as with the other side, you can stay doing this version if you want to, or you can make it a wee bit harder and do the whole exercise with your top leg elevated. Just watch that you don't land with a plop. That's never so good for the control. And if you want to make it a bit harder still, once again, you can do straightening the top leg at the same time as lifting the pelvis and the top arm. So you can make this exercise as complicated and difficult almost as you want, depending on how strong you are feeling today. We'll do a couple more. Last one. Good job. Okay, bring yourselves up onto your knees and then up into standing, because we've got a couple to do in standing which are both really good ones. Nice and simple ones to do actually if you just want to quickly do something to challenge your brain. Don't take up too much time. Okay, we're going to start off with your foot series. So before you start, check shoulders are over your headlights, and you're going to go up onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels and straighten. Onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten. Onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten. Onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten. One more. Onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten. Now we're going to reverse that one. Okay, so still shoulders over headlights, bend your knees, lift your heels, straighten and down. Bend, lift, straighten, down. Bend, lift, straighten, down. Bend, lift, straighten, down. Bend, lift, straighten, down. One more time. Bend, lift, straighten, down. Good job. Okay, now stand onto one leg. And this is an exercise sometimes I do holding onto a tray or a resistance band, but you can do this just as well, holding your hands in front as if you could do it as if you were holding the reins. Doesn't really matter, as long as you can just gently see your hands in front of you. Check that your headlights are facing to the front, your pelvic floor is onto floor 3, and your shoulders are relaxed and level, because now you are going to turn through your upper body. Now in this position you should find that your elbows gently slide around your middle as you go. Your hands want to stay in the same position in relation to each other, but your body, your lower body rather, is staying absolutely still. So those headlights are to the front, your shoulders are relaxed, but your upper body is gently on the move. Okay, we're going to stop and do the same thing with the other side. So again, before you start, relaxed, level shoulders, headlights to the front, and then you're sliding those elbows round as you turn, keeping your hands absolutely level and still in relation to each other. Keep checking, are your headlights staying to the front? Are your shoulders relaxed and level? Good job. Okay, then face front, arms back down by your side. Little walk on the spot because your hip muscle has been working quite hard for those last couple ones. And then let's finish with a nice stretch. So hands together, turn them over, push your way out in front, and then push up to the ceiling for a good big stretch. And then bring your arms back down. And again, push forwards and away, nice stretch. And up. And back down again, and we're going to do one more just like that. So forwards and away, good big stretch. And up for one last good big stretch. And then bring your arms back down by your side. Check that your feet are back approximately underneath your hips with soft knees, headlights to the front, shoulders back and down and open, and that nice elastic spine, just drawing you up as tall as you can be, but without being fixed and rigid. So well done everyone, if you've got to the end of that in one piece, great, because some of those exercises are quite hard. It doesn't, even if you're doing the easier level of them, the concentration is really quite intense for some of those. So well done if you've done that. Don't forget, even if you're thinking this is really hard, your horse is definitely going to thank you for it. Thank you so much for joining me, and look after yourselves, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.